Now, in this presentation, we'll introduce the syntax for the group by statement. But before we get to that, the use of the group by is always implemented when you want to create some kind of a collection. If you imagine for a moment a customer making purchases, you can well imagine that a single customer will make many purchases. So if we were to look in an orders table, for example, we would see something like the customer ID appearing many times on individual purchases for each instance of a purchase. But sometimes you just want to see all of the purchases for a single customer. That is the collection and the group by. You can group by the duplicated values of their customer ID, for example, and then typically you can perform some kind of a calculation on, let's say, the amount of all purchases. Now, we'll see examples of that, but in terms of the syntax, you can see it is still a select statement, then any expression to represent the columns that you want to retrieve, then typically an aggregate function. And this is what I just mentioned. If you wanted to see, for example, a total of all of their sales, that would be something like a sum function. So the expression would be the function and the column on which the function is operating. You still specify from your table or tables. You can certainly still implement a where clause so that you can filter the records. Maybe you are only interested in a particular customer or a particular range of customers, so you can still filter. But then you see the group by, and the group by specifies the column that contains the values that are going to be duplicated and hence gathered up into these collections. So again, using the example I just mentioned, if I wanted to see all of the purchases for just any given customer, I would group by the customer ID, and that would gather all the duplicate values up into this collection. Then you perform the function against the collection. Now, most commonly, those functions are aggregate functions: average, count, sum, min, and max. They don't have to be, but they are very, very common, particularly if talking about something like sales. So if I want to see the total of all sales, I would sum that up. And again, the where condition can certainly be implemented to further filter the results, again, so that I can just focus on a particular customer or maybe a particular region of sales, anything along those lines. But as mentioned, those are optional. So we'll see some examples of implementing a group by, but the key thing to remember is that it always generates these collections. Then you typically perform some kind of a function against the collection as a single entity, as opposed to each record at a time.